Hi, today I want to talk to you about a tubular 1x1 rib cast on. It's also referred to as, I think, an Italian cast on or a long tail tubular cast on. So for, I guess, all intents and purposes, what it gives you is this kind of a lovely polished finish, I guess, to your edging of your 1x1 rib. And it's perfect for hats because you can turn up the edge. You get this beautiful elasticated edging, so it's not going to be tight on your forehead. But it also curves the stitch around, so it's like literally it wraps over, so you can, both sides are perfectly the same. So how we go about doing that is we kind of cast on like you're doing a long tail cast on, but there's slight differences to how you work the yarn. So I've got my tail end here. I'm going to make a slip knot. Some people don't. I prefer to do that. And with a long tail cast on, or with the tubular cast on, it's always best to cast on a needle or 2 sizes smaller than what the actual you're going to be working your rib in, because it just makes it neater. It's actually quite a loose cast on, so if you don't go down a needle size, it can look like, it can go very gapey. So I tend to go down either 1 or 2 sizes in US, I guess, and then, you know, 0.5 millimeter or 1 whole millimeter for 2 millimeter sizes on my needles. So here I am with the smaller needle. I have my tail here, oops, and I have my yarn here. So this first stitch that I've made my slip knot with is actually going to be my first knit stitch. So we're actually going to be working a purl stitch. So we're going to take our yarn, we're going to split it 1 over our thumb, 1 over our index finger, and kind of just hold it like a long tail cast on. So we're going to be working a purl stitch first. So the first thing what we need to do is go behind this yarn here, come up between the middle, and then go all the way under the thumb yarn and all the way around back up. And you can see you've got a purl rib here right on the edge. That's your purl bump. So the next thing what we're going to do is we're going to do a knit stitch. So with a knit stitch, we go down for the thumb yarn first and come up through the center, and then go all the way around the top and under and back again. And so then we have our knit stitch mounted. So we're going to do a purl where we go around our index finger yarn, come up through the center and go all the way down under the thumb and come back up. And then you have your purl bump. Again, the knit one, we're going to go under the thumb first, come up through the center, and then go all the way around the back of both and back up again. So we have a knit. Then we do a purl. We're going to go around the front at the top index, come up through the center, go down where the thumb is and all the way around the both of them, and back up again. And we have our purl bump. And so we just generally tend to try and, you'll get used to it when you go faster and faster, how it works. And it gets to be quite a nice process once you start getting into the flow of it. So again, I'll just show you how you do a purl. Purl, we're going to start at the top. We go around the top, up through the center, go behind both strands and back up again. And our knit is we're going to do thumb first, up through the center, and then behind both loops. So if you continue on, and when you get to the very end of how many stitches you want to cast on, kind of this one's very loose. So, and I want to end on a purl because I'm doing a rib in the round. So basically it's quite loose. As you can see, it's just holding over it. So give it an extra twist with the yarn and just hold it there. And then I'll show you how we do the rest. Okay? So we've turned it around with our tail yarn. What we're now going to do, as you'll see, the knit stitches are reverse mounted on our needle. So to correct that, in our first setup row, we're going to knit into the back of those knit stitches, and then we're going to slip the purl ones with the yarn in front, and each one is going to be worked exactly the same. So we're going to knit into the back leg, and then we're going to bring our yarn to the front, and then we're going to slip that one purlwise, and then bring the yarn to the back, and then knit into the back leg again, or a knit stitch, bring the yarn to the front, slip it purlwise, yarn to the back, knit into the back leg again, yarn to the front, bring it around, knit to the leg. Now sometimes what might happen is this yarn twists on the needle or the cable, and you kind of have something like that, so you're like, oh, that can't be right, this needs to be a knit stitch because you've just done the purl, so you'll see the way the leg is the wrong way round. You'll be able to read the stitches the more and more you do, so just be careful that that doesn't twist. Some people cast on a straight needle for a tubular cast on, and then transfer it to a circular needle for working in the round to prevent the stitches from curling up. You'll just you just got to be a little careful. And then again, so when we get to this last stitch, which is the purl stitch, again we bring our yarn to the front, and then we're just going to slip that one purlwise and just leave the yarn there, and then we're going to turn our needle to do row number 2. So this is our setup row number 2, and now because all the stitches, the knit stitches have been knit through the back loop, they're all the correct way mounted now on the needle for us. So in this setup round and in setup rounds 3 and 4, we work them exactly the same, and that is we're going to knit the first stitch, we're going to slip the purl stitch with the yarn in front, and so on all the way along. So knit the first one, yarn front, slip it purlwise, bring it back, knit the next one, yarn front, slip it purlwise, yarn back, knit the next one, and so on until they get to the end. Now some people at the end of these 2 setup rows go straight into the pattern. You can do that. I prefer to do 2 more setup rows. It basically makes the it a little denser and less gapey, I guess, when you stretch it out by doing the extra couple of rounds, or rows I should say, and that's why I prefer to do it. So this would be setup round 3 or setup row 3, and so again you're knitting the first stitch, you're going to slip this one purlwise with the yarn in front. So knit it, slip it purlwise, bring the yarn back, knit, yarn front, slip purlwise, yarn back, knit, slip it purlwise, yarn back, and so on. And now this is, as I say, our setup row number 3. Get to that last stitch again, bring the yarn to the front, and then just slip it purlwise and just leave it there. And now you can see how this is starting to have a lovely, you can see the stitching already is starting to curve. It's a really pretty edge. It's so cute. So this is, again, setup row number 4, my last one, which is going to be worked the same way. So knit one, slip one with the yarn in front purlwise, knit the next one, slip yarn in front, and we keep going until we get to the end, and then I'll show you how we join it for going in the round. Although this is the most teeniest little piece of fabric I think I've created for in the round. Again, our last stitch. So if you were working this in the flat and it was for just you're working row by row, you would then just turn your yarn or turn your needle and then continue working, you know, knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one. I would change my needles to whatever the needle size they say to do for the pattern. As I say, remember I dropped a needle size or 2 to do this, depending on, I guess, the thickness of your yarn. So for when I'm going back, sorry, because I want to show you how I would join this. So I would slide this, because this would be like a magic loop join. And I would just be bending my yarn, my fabric in half, pulling my needles through so I don't twist it. And then you work knit one, purl one in the round, and you keep going, and that's how we knit in the round. So I'll just show you very briefly. So let's just keep this yarn up here. So you knit one, and then purl one, And you just work your regular knit one, purl one all the way around. Knit one, purl one, knit one, and so all the way around. And then you can see I've got this cute little edging. Now, when we get back here, I know because we worked a couple of rows in the flat, you've kind of got this bigger edge that you have to seam. But when you seam it and work into each of the stitches on both sides, that will seam up really great, and you won't even see that there was this little kind of edge that's open right now, but it will be closed up. And that is how I do a tubular 1x1 setup. And I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, thank you.